Good morning. This is your host, Kristi Slaughter on SuperTalk Saturday mornings, WFHG 92.9. We're joined with my special guest, Sheridan Nice. She is the owner of Mona Lisa's Gelato and Cafe. Good morning, Sheridan.
Good morning, Kristi.
Thank you for being with us. We've been talking a little bit about you. I don't know if your ears have been burning or not, but it's all good.
No, they have not been.
So you're going to be joining a couple other chefs for this Cooking with the Masters class camp at the Southwest Virginia Higher Education Center. Talk to me about the day that you're going to be doing and the inspiration behind Cooking with Julia Child.
Okay. Well, first off, I've been following Julia Child since probably the late 60s, and that's why I chose to do her for my class. I'm going to do a few classic things. I haven't settled in on exactly what we'll be doing, but we'll be using French technique, of course, and I think we'll probably do like a light fish terrine as a luncheon type menu is what I have in mind for this.
Sheridan, there was a picture that Jennifer had posted on the Cooking Along the Crooked Road Facebook page. So I used it. I did give reference to Jennifer on my personal Kristi Slaughter Facebook page. And there is a black and white photograph of you standing beside Julia Child. When was this taken?
That was taken in the early 90s, and that was when I was a student in Paris at La Varenne École de Cuisine. And she was there. She was really good friends with Ann Willen, who owned the school. And she was there for about a week with us, and it was just an incredible opportunity and an incredible experience. And that's my favorite picture.
I can see why. So that was the early 90s, and then I posted it, and underneath there I put a picture of like the last year or two. Sheridan, you have not aged. I don't know what you're doing, but you look exactly the same. So I was really curious when I posted. I was like, how old is this? Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. Keep eating gelato and French food because it's working for you. Let me just tell you that.
Well, thank you so much, but I don't think that's true. But I will keep eating the gelato because I really can't seem to stop.
So you are the owner of Mona Lisa's Gelato and Cafe, and it was funny. I was talking to you about something, and I flashed back to it last night, and I couldn't remember if the cafe part came first in the name or the gelato. And after I said, of course, you always have gelato first, now I've never forgotten the name. What is the difference if people have not had gelato before? What's the difference in that and like soft serve or ice cream?
Okay. Ice cream has as much as 50% butterfat. And normally there are laws where, it controls the amount of butterfat. So you're looking at 50% butterfat as it's being made. And 50% more, I'm sorry. Generally, a high-end ice cream will have around 14%. It also has much more air built into it as it's churned than gelato. So gelato is denser. It has a lower butterfat content of about 7%, and it's just a healthier product. And there are soft serve machines which are advertised as putting out gelato, but it isn't real gelato. Because you can't make real gelato come out of a soft serve machine. It's going to be a dry, powdered product to which the owner would add water or just regular milk. And if you taste that, you will taste the difference. We make our gelato with Mayfield dairy, and we use pastes that come straight from Italy. We don't use American paste because they just aren't as good. We've tried them, and they aren't. But there are some things that we make ourselves. We make the peanut butter paste because, who knows peanuts better than Americans. And we make our own pistachio paste, and we think that it's better, too. But we really can't touch the Marcona almond paste. It's just better imported. So we try to make the best products that we can and using the highest quality ingredients that we can obtain.
I love that you're always constantly expanding and learning. You go and you travel and still take classes and do things now. I've got the opportunity to sit in from a few classes that you've done here in the Tri-Cities. I think maybe you've even worked with a local university and done some classes there as well.
That's right. I work through ETSU's Department of Professional Development. And we usually do a series there. It can be anywhere from 4 to 6 class meetings, and we'll meet once a week for that time period. And we try to focus on a particular subject, whether it be French cooking or we did one around the world where we focused on a different ethnic menu each meeting. The last one was an alfresco class, and we've done holiday classes and, of course, French classes. But all of the classes are done using French technique. So, we have a really good time there. And the last series, we actually had some people come in to talk about their products. A local brewery in Johnson City Brewing Company, and Studio Brew, from Bristol. Pam Allen came over and talked to us about her product, and, we used the product while cooking the recipes. So it was very interesting and very nice, and we just have a really good time. We prepare all of this food together, and then we eat a wonderful meal together, and it's a way to meet people that you normally wouldn't meet, and you get to know them because we're actually there for several classes in a row together.
Sheridan, I'm still, as you're talking, I'm looking at this picture of you and Julia Child. So thank you for sharing that information, but let's go back to Julia for a minute. When you had that time with her, what were some of the most memorable things that occurred during that time space when you were in France?
Well, first and foremost, I was impressed with what a giving and loving and kind human being Julia Child actually was. And I actually had the opportunity to meet her a couple of times after that, and she's just one of the most generous people that I've ever met. Because we all looked up to her to, give us encouragement, and she certainly did that. And Julia Child did more than probably anyone else to reshape the dining world in this country. And she published the Art of French Cooking. I believe that was, in the early 60s. And she actually had a cooking school in France with the two ladies who helped her write that book. And so she really paved the way for, other women in the field. And, she was just so, like I said, encouraging. And that after World War II, the interest in French cuisine rose significantly in this country. And so, the book was published in 1961. I just looked that up. And something else you might find interesting is that book was originally printed at the Kingsport Press in Kingsport. So I've always thought that was a neat little tidbit about it. But, it really did change, the way we look at things. And the first few publishers did not want to publish the book because they said American housewives would never be able to understand it, which that tells you, what they thought of average American housewives back in the day. But she insisted, and finally, a woman picked it up and ran with it, and it's still one of the best-selling books ever. So, they were wrong, and she was right, and she was giving us this beautiful gift, and, she always supported younger people, and she had cooking shows all the way from 1963 to 2000. That's quite a career. And, everyone loves her, and, everyone can see why she was so loved. But I think I got off track there. You asked me what the experience was like in France. For me, it was incredible, just to be able to walk around the streets. It's like being in an open-air museum, the things that you see that you've read about and seen in books your entire life. And to go into the food emporiums like Fauchon and places like that, Léal was already closed by the time I got there. But there's so many incredible shops. Every window is artistic and a masterpiece of how you would want your food to look. So it was an incredible experience, and I'm so grateful that I was able to do that, and grateful that I've been able to go back and see how France is dining now, and they're dining lighter. They're not using the heavy sauces. Of course, you could still find that. There are a few restaurants scattered all over that specialize in regional cuisine and classic regional cuisine. But for the most part, they've been on the cutting edge of healthier food, and they love ethnic foods, and so you can find anything, any type of cuisine that you want in Paris, of course.
I'm ready to go, Sheridan.
Okay.
I'm a
great travel agent.
Let's do a food tour. And I know you know a lot about gluten-free things, so I would be in really good hands. We could do France gluten-free. But thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. If people want to come down and they want to visit your cafe, have some gelato, you have wonderful soups and homemade sandwiches and things like that. Where are you located?
We are located on Oakland Avenue at 305 Oakland Avenue. And we're across the street from the brand new car wash. And we are in a strip center that's kind of behind the Mellow Mushroom. The Mellow Mushroom faces Rome Street, but they're actually, if you turn right there at Oakland Avenue, you'll see us immediately. You can't miss. I have a huge ice cream cone sitting out by the road.
Good.
So,
just follow the ice cream cone. You'll make it.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Again, the Cooking with the Masters Summer Camp for Adults will be July 16th through the 18th. Sheridan will be there the second evening doing Julia Child, the First Lady of Cooking. You can do the camp as a whole or individual classes. You can find out more information at swcenter.edu/cooking. Thank you so much, Sheridan. Hope you have a great weekend.
Well, thank you, Kristi. You too.
Thank you. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back here in just a moment. This is your host, Kristi Slaughter, on SuperTalk Saturday mornings, WFHG 92.9.